morning, Quadcopter 101 here on a somewhat gloomy day out here in the desert. We just had a storm system go by and we got another one coming. We might even have snow for Christmas. We'll see. What I got for you today is the it's Syma upgrade of the X8G. This is the Syma X8HG. And as by the name H in it, you can infer that this is an altitude hold quadcopter. And if you look on its control stick for throttle, you'll see that it's centered, and that tells you again that this is an altitude hold quadcopter. That's the major upgrade of the Syma X8HG. It's very similar, if not the same, as the original Syma X8. Let me put down the transmitter here and show you. But it comes, the X8HG model, the G model, comes with an HD camera, a 1080p, 30 frames per second camera that can be also switched to 720p at 60 frames per second. It includes an SD card slot and SD card for recording your HD video. Unfortunately, this camera does not come with an internal battery, nor does it come with a shutter button to activate video. It's all got to be activated via the remote control. So what that means is, you know, this is powered by the quadcopter. You can't use this as a standalone camera. You can't just pop that out there and use it as a GoPro. It is not a standalone camera. However, you can remove this camera and put in a GoPro if you wish, because this camera mount is designed for the size of a GoPro camera. So keep that in mind. If you're not satisfied with the video that you're getting from the HG camera, you can swap that camera out and put in a GoPro. Additional features on this quadcopter, again, it is the same design, all the same external features as the X8 series. So you're not seeing much difference here. You know, it has this 1200 milliampere hour battery with banana connector. There is a little wiggle room in there for slightly larger batteries if you can find one. That'll fit in there. It has an on-off switch. Again, the power cable going to the camera of the quadcopter. Replaceable motors in here that are very easy to pop out and replace in case they go bad. They are brushed motors, so you know they will go bad eventually on you, but again, brushed motors for this are available just about everywhere, and they're very inexpensive. I think about $3 if you have a motor go bad. Easy to pop out and replace. Let's go over the transmitter now. The transmitter is the thing I have a little bit of concern about. I've been reading that the range of this has been reduced from the previous models. The previous models could go out to 200, 300 meter range, the X8 series. I'm hearing this one's about 70 to 100 meters, depending on whether you got the Wi-Fi version or the non-Wi-Fi version. I got the non-Wi-Fi version, so I'm hoping that the range is a little bit better. I am not going to be flying out until I drop because of that. I'm just going to keep it around within 100 meters here today, but we will, you know, take it out to an acceptable range of about 100 meters. Let's go over the buttons on the transmitter. There are a lot of features on this. Quick press of the upper left trigger button changes your rates from beginner to expert. If you hold it down for 2 seconds, you enter into headless mode. This does have headless mode. You can do flips with this quadcopter, but I don't recommend it because you will burn out motors doing such. But to do a flip, you press this button once and then push the pitch roll stick and tell it which direction to flip. You can calibrate the gyros on this quadcopter. If it's drifting while it's flying a lot, put it on a flat level surface and bind it to this transmitter and pull both sticks down and to the right, and that will recalibrate your gyros. Again, you can calibrate headless mode to a new direction. Land the quadcopter pointed to whatever direction you want the new headless mode direction to be, and pull the sticks down and to the left. And you can activate the video camera by pressing down on this, what would normally be the throttle trim button, and you can take a photo by pressing up on the trim button. And once you take a video, you start a video, always remember to stop that video or you will lose it. It will not record to the camera card unless you stop the video at the end of the flight before pulling out the battery from the quadcopter. Now, there is an issue of this regarding arming and disarming of this quadcopter. There are two ways to arm the quadcopter and get the rotor spinning, and that is to bind it to the transmitter and then bring both sticks down and inboard, and that will start up the motors, and all you need to take off is to push up on the throttle and it should take off. But there is another way to arm those motors and disarm those motors. If you push up on the throttle stick for 2 seconds after binding, it will arm the motors. However, you can disarm the motors if you pull the stick down and hold it down for 2 seconds, and that will shut off the motors. Now, why is that an issue? What if you're in flight and you want to come down rapidly, and you pull that back on the throttle a little bit too much and too long, you can, and people have done this, shut off the motors in flight, and the quadcopter will crash. So be very careful coming back down from up on high. Don't bring it all the way down. In fact, I recommend putting your thumb there like this, just to be safe during a descent, to make sure that you don't come all the way down and shut off those motors. So if you're flying this quadcopter, put your thumb there to block it from going all the way down while you're descending. Okay? Well, that's about it, folks. Let's take it up and try it out and see how this performs. Hope you enjoy this flight. Okay, to start this quadcopter up, since it is a toy grade, we plug it in first. This is different than, what do you call it, the hobby grade, where you turn on the transmitter first, but this one, you plug it in first. And this banana connector prevents you from plugging in the wrong polarity and damaging the quadcopter. That's a good thing about banana connectors. I kind of like banana connectors for that reason. And then stuff it all in there. And let's close that battery door. There we go. Battery door is shut. One thing that I don't like about this mount for this camera, you can't tilt it up or down. It seems to have like a stop right there that prevents you from tilting it. Others might disagree. They might chime in saying, oh, there's a way to do it, but I tried, and it looks like you'll break it if you try to force this to get an upward angle or a downward angle on that mount. But again, let's press this and point this in this direction, turning the quadcopter on via its on-off switch. Lights are blinking, pointing it toward the mountains, toward Owens Peak there, off in the distance for our headless mode direction. Turning on the transmitter, binding it to the quadcopter. And arming, we're going to try arming it this way. 1, 2, well, it doesn't seem to arm. Oh, there we go. Okay, it is armed. Now watch what happens. Pull it down for 2 seconds, 1001, 1002. That would happen in flight. You'd lose that quadcopter. Okay, I want to verify that I am recording. I want to look at the light on this. We have a green light. And pressing down on the throttle trim button, and the light is flashing red, indicating that I'm recording. And also the lights on the quadcopter flash to let you know that you're recording, which is good. So we're ready to take off again. This time we'll arm it this way, down and in. That arms it quicker. So, okay, going up. Giving it throttle. I'm going to trim it a bit. Trim it to the right. And we got a wind from my back here. And let's go out. Let's see how that altitude hold performs. Let's bring it in and see. There's a wind, a slight wind coming from my back. How do you like my t-shirt today, folks? Tie-dye. Well, the altitude hold's working. Working relatively well. Gloomy day today, huh? Let's go upwind and higher. The reason you want to go upwind, again, we have a 70-meter range supposedly, and if it loses reception of the transmitter, the wind will blow it back toward me. That's why I want to go upwind into the wind. We'll go out over the gully today. And going at slow speed here for the camera. Going up a little bit higher. To right about there. We're about, I'd say about 50 meters up. And I'm going to put it in hover and then rotate. Let the wind blow it back. Showing you the camera. And again, that's the wind blowing it back over me. And let's go up this way now. Now again, this is a camera bird. Let's come down low and do a swoop over the bushes. And we'll go to a higher rate too. Oh, higher rate is very high rate. I don't want to go that high. That'll give us crummy video. Okay, coming back toward me. Coming even lower. Again, as we're descending, don't pull that stick all the way down. And flying over my element. So yeah, you know, this is relatively easy to fly. Beginners should be able to fly it. You know, I just don't feel comfortable in a total beginner, especially a kid, flying this because coming back downwind. That's high. That's beginner rate. Because it's a big quadcopter. Somewhat large quadcopter. And I wouldn't feel comfortable with hundreds of children flying this because they can hurt themselves. Especially those blades. Those blades are big and powerful. So, going up one more time. And going around. And then going to the right. Let's try some banking maneuvers. It flies well, you know. The altitude hold works well. Again, you know, this, for a new flyer, again, a teen flyer and above, this would be a good quadcopter to learn flying with, along with having a camera on it, you know, an HD camera. Let's come down low and do a low swoop now. Again, careful as you're dropping altitude. You don't want to shut off the motors. Put your thumb there to prevent it. Coming down even lower. Right about there. A little bit higher. A little bit higher so we don't hit the bushes. We'll do a run over the bushes. Yeah, the range seems to be okay on this. It's just, you're not getting a 300 meter range supposedly, and that's a shame. I like that 300 meter range of the original X8. Let's bring it over. I'm going to turn off the camera here for a second to make sure I got the video that I already recorded. Turn the camera back on. Seeing why my dog's barking. I don't see any reason. And the time that you got with this is only about 5 minutes, and actually I see it starting to descend a bit. I don't know if that's from the low battery or what, but I'm going to go out this way one more time, and then we're going to call it quits because I don't want to fly until I burn out the battery. And coming back up our way. So again, this is the X8HG. Ooh, goes faster. I don't know. I'm in low rate. During the turn, it speeded up. Try another right turn, see what happens. It speeds up in the turns, in a bank turn. I don't know why that is, but interesting. Okay, let's bring it in for a landing. Bring it into hover. Get a thumbnail at the same time. Oh, I haven't done headless mode yet. I don't know if I got enough power to do headless mode. Let's turn off that video. Turn on headless mode. Holding down the button for 2 seconds. And does it remember that direction? Yeah, it does. To the right. Headless mode works. Does not have one key return, but it does have headless mode. So, that was headless mode. And yeah, it's starting to descend. I guess that's what happens when the battery gets low. Land, yeah. And shut off the motors. So, that's the flight of the X8HG. I hope all that video came out. I'm going to make sure I shut it off via that way. My thoughts, yeah, it's a nice steady flyer. It has a nice camera, supposedly. We'll find out in post-production here when I put it up. But all in all, I kind of liked it the way it flew. So I hope you enjoyed that flight. This is Quadcopter 101 with the Syma X8HG. Hold on, let me hold it this way. Signing out.